Good morning, everybody. I wanted to do Andrew Scheer Twitter roundup as there's a lot of news and the MPs, yes, I incorrectly said MPPs earlier. They're members of parliament, not members of provincial parliament. MPs are returning to Ottawa tomorrow. And Mr. Scheer and his caucus are in Ottawa now, and they're working over the weekend as the speech is being produced. I think it was uploaded today, an hour ago. Yes. So they're working hard, and it shows. The beginning of the video shows some odd clapping, which I thought was kind of funny. The music's going and they're clapping to a beat that is different than the music. I just thought it was funny. But Mr. Scheer makes some announcements. During this speech, he announces some candidates. I think if you're going to watch a speech with Andrew Scheer, this is a good speech to watch. He says he wants Canada for Canadians. I'm going to call it the hard not to smile speech. He says it's hard not to smile because things are going so well. They've got a high caliber of candidate choosing to pick up the Conservative banner, he says, and he uses this speech to introduce a bunch of his candidates. And he says that they've broken many fundraising records. 2018 was a banner year. I believe that he said it was the second most they've ever fundraised, and it was a non-election year, so that is out of the ordinary. Usually people aren't giving money in non-election years. People aren't generally paying attention. So that's kind of cool. He talks about people being tired of liberal mistakes, damaged relationships, bungled trade, killing pipelines, oil and gas, destroyed confidence in immigration and the border. Like those 5 things right there, tons of meat. And he just kind of hits on it, right? And it's great. It was nice to hear. It was a good run up to the speech. He says runaway spending and permanent deficits hit everyone hard. He says Trudeau keeps telling us we've never had it better, but people are not feeling that on the ground. Regular, everyday people aren't feeling that. He says 2/3 can't pay bills. 81% are paying more in taxes under Trudeau. And 11, so that's what I've got this here. He says, if Trudeau is reelected, your taxes will go up. He says, just before this, he says, if you take one thing away from this speech, take this. And so I'll give him this, and I'll give him one more at the end before we go into his tweets. So take it away, Mr. Scheer.
If he's given another 4 years, everything from the price of the gasoline you put in your car, to the food you put on your table, to the taxes you pay directly to Ottawa, all of that will cost you more money. We know this because he's already raised taxes. More than 80% of middle-income Canadians are paying $800 more in taxes every year since he's come to power. He's hiked taxes on small businesses. He's ended tax credits that made things like dance lessons and bus passes more affordable. He's brought in a brand new carbon tax that punishes everyday Canadians. And to this day, Trudeau will not come clean on how much his carbon tax will cost. He's literally covering it up. We asked for the documents that would show us how much it would cost, and they came back blacked out. The consensus is that it will cost roughly $1,100 a family through increases to everyday household essential. But that's only at the current rates. Internal government documents show the government is already preparing for a carbon tax of $300 a ton. That's 15 times more expensive than the $20 a ton that will start this year. And based on the government's own numbers, that would add over 60 cents a litre to the price of gas.
And I'll stop him there. But so that's interesting. It's worth noting. He also says at 1813, he uses callbacks and tags, basically things that Trudeau has said that have been flops, like the budget will balance themselves. And we're going to listen to a shorter clip this time, I hope. Here we go.
Townhouse in South Ottawa, stressing over how they will make it to the end of the month. These people know what Justin Trudeau doesn't. That budgets don't balance themselves, that you can't borrow your way out of debt, that you can't spend money you don't have, and you can't make others pay for your own mistakes.
And this is the end part of the speech, the fiery part. He says, the everyday Canadian we fight for can't afford 4 more years of Justin Trudeau, he also throws back something about a construction worker comment. He says, people who don't think it's a problem when construction workers show up to build something. And he wants to restore Canada's fair and orderly immigration system. So he finishes on immigration. I think when you finish on something like that, and it's like running down a hill at the last part of a speech, right? You're trying to get all those notes in, you're trying to get all the mentions in, make sure you've touched on the things that you want your audience to take away, right? So finishing on immigration is significant and interesting. So watch the whole speech. It's interesting. Link is in the description. Here's another one of Andrew Scheer's tweets. It says Justin Trudeau's handpicked ambassador continues to undermine the rule of law and damage relationships with allies. By putting up with this, he is showing incredible weakness. A real leader would have fired this ambassador immediately. And this is on January 25th, as I haven't done a Andrew Scheer Twitter roundup in a while. And similarly, ICYMI, Justin Trudeau's most hypocritical line of attack yet. And I watched this video, it was 10 minutes long, and I couldn't tell you what the line of attack was. So make a shorter video on this one, sir. I want like 30 seconds. I'll listen to 30 seconds just for that one. Like, if you're going to give me the most hypocritical line of attack, make it snappy, right? I want to hear the most hypocritical line and move on. Andrew Scheer tweeting again, Justin Trudeau's prediction is coming true thanks to his own ministers. And if you haven't seen Ahmed Hassan accuse the Conservatives of wanting to put an RCMP official at every 100 meters, well, that video exists. He said it on January 22nd, and I covered it as well. Link is in my video history. It's there, January 22nd. And he says, you know what their plan is? To militarize the border and place a CBSA official or RCMP official every 100 meters. And Mr. Hassan, closing our border would be a much saner approach than your approach of putting anybody who wanders into Canada up in a hotel for a couple of years. Andrew Scheer saying, wishing Scottish Canadians a happy Robbie Burns Day. I trust there'll be odes to the haggis recited. Little known speaker tradition. You pick a speaker's select Scotch whiskey. I chose 10-year-old single malt Glenmorangie, followed by a Balvenie 12-year-old double wood single malt. Sounds delicious. Andrew Scheer says again, on behalf of Her Majesty's loyal official opposition and Canada's Conservatives, I'm delighted to wish all Indo-Canadians a very happy Republic Day. And I include it because it was tweeted this morning at 6:15. Pierre Poilievre snuck in there because I was scrolling through Twitter, and this just made me laugh a little bit. He says, Trudeau and the world clowned around in India until they laughed him out of town, started a Twitter war with Saudi Arabia, bungled extradition of prominent Chinese national, and capitulated to Trump on trade and tariffs. Hashtag little potato. Little potato. That made me laugh. I was like, oh, Pierre, good job. Yeah. Andrew Scheer again, it should never have come to this. Justin Trudeau should have fired his ambassador the moment he interfered in this case. Instead, he did nothing and allowed more damage to be done, more weakness and more indecision from Trudeau on China. This is a day and a half after the first China ambassador tweet I showed you. So still turning the screws to Trudeau, and I like it. It's a good line of attack because there's nobody in Canada who believes that what that ambassador did improve the situation. It didn't. It made it more complicated and worse. Andrew Scheer again, it's 2019. There is no reason to dump wastewater into our rivers and ecosystems. It's disgusting. It's harmful, and I'm going to help stop it. I hope so. I hope that you help stop it. Honestly, polluted wastewater, the way we're polluting wastewater is a third world problem, and it's unbelievable that in 2019, that's a problem in Canada. Justin Trudeau can have a balanced cabinet all he likes. That doesn't indicate any competence. And this problem being an issue while the climate minister jets around the world to go to conferences seems insane, because this is actually pollution and this is actually a problem that's happening in Canada. And Justin Trudeau, again, is a complete and total failure on this file. And the last one is, my team will always fight for and champion our energy workers and the prosperity they create for all Canadians. And this is a video, and it says Conservatives will always stand up for Canada's energy workers. Share this video in big letters. Good. You need call to action, because people don't do it otherwise. For some strange reason, people listen to instruction, and they will share it regardless. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the Andrew Scheer Twitter roundup, and really, this is a good speech. I make fun of him a little bit at the beginning because of the clapping, but started at 2 minutes in. Yeah, 2 minutes in, and you should be good. Maybe 3 or 4 minutes in, and watch it. He handles things well. I really believe that Justin Trudeau is going to be completely ignored by a lot of the population, and I understand there are going to be pockets of really liberal back and forth. Toronto is going to be one. The maritime provinces are potentially going to be another, but I think that their policies are so poor and their records so bad, and there's no crown jewel. There's nothing to draw a majority of people back to the Liberals. They're advocating open border policy with increased taxes for pretty much everybody to put up non-citizens and anybody who can get here to implement an incredibly damaging UN initiative and basically hand our sovereignty over to an unelected international body. Unbelievable. Like, just any thinking person can't hand a party that's proposing that power. Right? I hope. Right? Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon. It's Sunday. Have dinner with your family or call your mom. Call your mom. Thanks for watching, everybody.